I would enjoy seeing you attempt to drop kick a translucent child.
I mean, I kicked a ghost before when I had a migraine and they appeared.
What's up, witches?
Hi, I'm Claudia.
And I'm Jess.
And welcome to
True Crime Coven.
So today, for the very first time, we are doing this over Zoom.
Yeah, so if the quality of the audio is not great, that is why. Claudia has the nice fancy microphone and I'm at home with literally a little call centre headset.
Yeah, so Jess's audio might sound a little bit B-Tech over there. But,
just a little bit, not even B-Tech, mate.
To be honest with you, it's quite good that we're getting to do this because obviously, if you haven't realised, Jess is pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's going to get harder for her to come over here. And also, I feel bad that she has to come over here. Petrol time, money. So if we could start doing it like this, fantastic. But it will mean that we'll obviously pay for a better headset.
Yeah. This headset is literally a call centre headset as well. It's even only got like one ear, like listening thing. Yeah. So it's just bad quality over here.
So the reason we're doing this is I have COVID again.
And obviously I'm now a vulnerable person.
Because you're carrying a little human.
A tiny little human.
And also, even though legally we can hang out, morally I'm isolating.
Yeah, and we thought, although the audio might suck doing this, it's going to be a lot better than us wearing masks.
And also, for the sake of a podcast, we're not putting anyone in danger.
But we still wanted to get our ghost stories out to you, so...
Exactly, so appreciate the dedication.
Yes.
We also know we've been so all over the place lately, and we just don't want to continue to
Also, this will hopefully mean that we won't have to take so long off when I have the baby, because obviously this is a lot more convenient for me to do than go to Claudia's with a newborn baby.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
And then Mikey look after the baby downstairs.
Oh my god. I'm not sure I would trust him. No offence, Mikey.
So on that note, we do have some ghost stories this week.
We do. Well, actually, we are coming. I think we've got a couple more ghost stories, but we are coming to the end of the ghost stories from Reddit. So listeners, please, if you have any ghost stories, even if you think it is insignificant, we don't care. We want friendly ones, short ones, long ones, anything.
Some as big as your head.
I'd be impressed if you had a ghost story as big as your head, but
yeah. No, I mean, just send us anything, honestly. Even if you think it's not worth it, let us be the judge.
Yeah. And on that note, let's crack on with our first story. So this one, I think it was a Reddit user, but they've emailed them in. So thank you. So they didn't actually put their name, but it's Imperial Guard on their thing, and their email address is Wheel and Samuel. So if that's you, thank you very much for your email. My two younger sisters got into the TV series Avatar: The Last Airbender when they were both in elementary school. And so naturally, merchandise soon followed. After acquiring some action figures and Lego sets, we experienced weird things around the house, such as the vacuum turning on by itself and the lights flickering. My dad was, and still is, in the electronics business, so if it was just because of a poor wiring job, he would have known about it. All of these events stopped after we took a sledgehammer to the merchandise out the back. My theory is that part of the TV show revolves around 4 elements of nature: water, earth, fire, and air. These also happen to be part of the Wicca religion, which is very similar to witchcraft according to my Christian upbringing. Somehow, I believe these figurines that we purchased for my two younger sisters had some sort of curse on them, or they had been used for some sort of paranormal ritual. Another story I have is from my friend's mum. Sometime in the 1970s, she was playing with a Ouija board, but she wasn't getting the result she wanted. She decided to go get a snack from the kitchen, and the kitchen was connected to the living room. After picking out her favourite bag of chips, she hears a whole bunch of people talking to each other coming from the living room. It was almost as if they were having a party. She returned to the living room to find no one there, or no one she could physically see. And she was the only person in the house that day. Needless to say, she never messed with a Ouija board again. And that's
So
the
that
end.
first story,
Yeah.
it's a funny one in terms of like, I suppose anything can be haunted. Like,
Yeah.
you think about a haunted object, you immediately are going to think of like some old box or like a
Yeah,
creepy doll.
or something. Yeah.
But there is nothing to say that it couldn't be like, I'm just looking around the room, a bottle of vape juice. Like, there's nothing to say
Yeah, like
can't
it doesn't
be.
have to be old and
No.
yeah.
But because it's something so new, it's almost, and I'm not laughing at the story, I'm not dismissing it, but it's almost laughable in that sense.
Yeah.
But then also, I wonder if perhaps it's more, perhaps you have a ghost in your house and they
that's
were
how they
attracted
channeled.
to, no, or like, what I'm thinking is like, perhaps they were attracted to those dolls
Yeah. Maybe.
and it sort of, made them come out per se.
Yeah, or well, because I was thinking that maybe it was like the spirit managed to channel their
Yeah,
energy
like,
through the doll.
A conduit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely an interesting one, and it's one of those ones that I think is easy to dismiss because you're like, it's a fucking airbender doll. But actually,
And like Lego as well. Like
yeah, but there's nothing to say that it has to be some like
No.
creepy Dibbit box or like an Annabelle. Like, people
Yeah.
could laugh at Annabelle because it's literally just a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
And if you actually look at the actual Annabelle, she looks nothing like the TV series Annabelle.
No, she's not as creepy. It's like literally like a Raggedy Ann kind of style doll, isn't it?
It is a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And she's just in this glass case. It's quite funny, really.
Yeah.
Not that I would touch her at all.
Oh my
But,
god, no, would not go anywhere near.
Do want to go to Zach Baggins's museum, though.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
We keep coming up with like amazing like little trips that we should do.
Yes, but we are financially challenged.
Very much so.
The second story...
I was about to ask, what's your stance on Ouija boards?
Would not ever use one.
No.
Would
personally.
be present when someone else uses one, which I don't know if that actually protects me if I'm not involved.
Yeah. But wouldn't ever do one in my house.
No, I don't know if I've said this before, but I had a Halloween party 2 years ago. So like during lockdown, but when you could have like 6 people together.
Yeah.
So we had like 4 people round. And one of the guys was like, I'm bringing a Ouija board. And I was like, you can bring it,
No.
but you're not using it in my house.
Yeah.
I was like, you can go, we've got like a green near our house. I was like, you can go to the green and use it. Like, you can get that place haunted.
Yeah, but not
like,
my house.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I always remember, like, whenever I think of Ouija boards, so for GCSE, I did, it was called Philosophy and Ethics with Religion. It was basically like posh RS.
RE, yeah.
Yeah. But we had an amazing teacher for it, so I actually really enjoyed the class more because of the
Same.
teacher.
I got an A star in mine because of the
really?
teacher, yeah.
So he was practicing pagan.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't.
But no, he was a really cool guy. And he actually did a lesson one day on Ouija boards. And it will always remember, he was like, I'm not going to tell you to not do one. He was like, you're teenagers, feel free to go and experiment if you want to. He said, but if you do one, then just always remember, don't do one in somewhere that you don't want to be haunted. So
Yeah.
like, don't do one in your house, don't do one in your nan's house, don't do one in, like, somewhere you've got to stay or you've got a loved one staying. And then he said, don't do one that you know is a graveyard. He's like, because you're just opening up more of a can of worms than you. Like, if you
Yeah.
went to a graveyard and did one, you're going to have so much more than if you just went to, like, a house and did one.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, there's probably at least one murderer in most graveyards.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know what you're opening up to. But then the last one he gave us that always remember, I will always remember and always stick to, is even if I ever did a Ouija board, he was like, always make sure you say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you're not closing it.
Yeah.
But then I always think it's quite funny because the Ouija board was literally made by, was it Mattel? No, it's not Mattel. Hasbro or something. Hasbro, yeah. Ouija. So it's called, so a Ouija board is actually called a talking board or a spirit board, but Ouija is the trademark of Hasbro.
Oh, okay. So when you say a Ouija board, you actually mean the brand.
Yeah, it's like we call like Hoovers.
Yeah. And it's like the jacuzzi hot tub.
Yeah, exactly.
All jacuzzis are hot tub and all hot tubs are jacuzzis, yeah.
Exactly, and not all vacuums are Hoovers.
But all Hoovers are vacuums.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, I knew it was something like Mattel or Hasbro, something really like benign. But yeah, this is the thing. They just basically patented it, didn't they? But you can make a Ouija, like, it doesn't have to be something you buy. It can be something you make.
Yeah, as long as you've got the letters, the hello, goodbye, yes, no, and something that moves.
Some sort of planchette.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Because we did it in school, in our lunch break, I never participated then. And people used, like, literally a glass.
Yeah.
I don't know where we got the glass from. Someone must have brought it in. But yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't do one. But I would like to participate in some way by watching one.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see one, but I wouldn't want any of the effects.
I'm the sort of person that even if nothing happened, I would drive myself crazy with the paranoia.
Yeah.
I did once try to summon a spirit. Did not work. I was quite drunk. Apparently when I'm drunk, I want to speak to ghosts. Yeah. No, I think when I'm drunk, I'm just less of a scaredy cat.
Okay, are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, again, we're back to Reddit.
Thank you, Reddit.
Reddit. And this was sent in or posted by, their handle is just like random letters and numbers, but I'm still going to read it out. It's TB1994123. So,
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. When I was about 10 years old, I was staying at a friend's cottage for a few days. We stayed in a room with twin beds. As in many unfamiliar bedrooms, it took me a while to fall asleep. However, it took my friend minutes. They were also snoring quite loudly, which kept me awake even longer. The room was dark, and all of a sudden, a small boy, about 5 years old, appeared out of thin air at the foot of her bed and was sitting down with his legs hanging off the side of the bed. He was translucent and kind of grey, and a bright white, almost glowing in the dark. He was wearing overalls and an old school flat cap. I was in shock. I kept pinching myself and asking if this was real. I shut my eyes as tightly as I possibly could, and then I opened them again to see if they were playing tricks on me. I was so afraid I hid under the covers and kept repeating, "Please make this stop. Please don't be real." When I peeked back out from under the covers, the little boy turned around and took notice of me. He started smiling at me, but his smile appeared distorted and menacing. I started screaming at the top of my lungs, and my friend's mum came barging in and turned on the lights. The little boy vanished, and when I told her what I'd seen, she brushed it off, as if it had just been a bad dream. I know 100% that I was awake when this happened, and I have never been so scared in my life.
Yeah, that's nightmare fuel. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't really like the idea of kid ghosts.
No, especially like, I feel like you can all imagine the smile as well.
Yeah, no, honestly, I would have kicked that kid.
Would you have gone near it though? Because I would have been like, fuck this. You're on your own. The door's there. I'm gone.
Yeah, true. I don't know why kids are creepier, but they are.
Yeah.
And I would like to say it's because I know that, like, I say I know as if I'm like some sort of, yeah, it just sounds like it's a fact, and obviously it's a theory. But like the fact that like demons often parade as kids to lull you into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm not that I want to give the demons any sort of way to get on my side, but if you portray yourself as a child, I'm more scared.
Oh, for sure.
You want to make
Especially...
me feel safe? Be a cat ghost.
Oh my god, yeah. We're a friendly dog ghost.
Cat ghost.
So, because I'm literally imagining, I know this doesn't really work on like a podcast medium, but I'm literally imagining like, you know, that face where you like the kid literally turning slowly and then like smiling, but like, you know, when you tilt your head down and you're like,
And you sort of smile too much.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's not smiling with joy, it's smiling with like
menace.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have been, I think I would have been like, I need to go home.
Yeah. I also feel like I would have screamed a lot sooner.
Yeah, but then you never know how you're going to react to it in that situation. But anyway, I'm just going to say, yeah, drop kick or cry and go home. Those are the two things. It would very much be fight or flight.
Yeah, I would enjoy seeing you attempt to drop kick a translucent child.
I mean, I kicked a ghost before when I had a migraine and they appeared.
That is true. I feel you've told me that story.
I have told you that story. I've told everyone the story.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you won't get this reference, but I'm hoping at least one person listening will. When Parker Cannon from The Story So Far drop kicked the girl off stage at their gig. Yeah, that would be me, but to the kid.
Just drop kicking ghosts left, right and centre.
Yeah. Walk off.
Unless it's a cat ghost.
I would never kick a cat, alive or dead.
Good. It proves that you're a nice human being.
It's a brave thing of me to admit, I know, but I am going to go on the record and say I would never kick a cat. Obviously, if you listen to this, hopefully you know by now, I have a cat called Karen. The other day I went to leave for work and she ran out in front of me and was sat like in the middle of the road, which sounds dangerous, but I live on a dead end street and no one really drives up it. There's a delivery driver and he was like this 20-year-old sort of like roadman-ish guy. And he went, hello, Key, like that. And then he went up to his phone and I think he did a voice note and he's like, oui, I just saw the most beautiful cat, yeah? And then squatted and just started doing like so many photos of her. And I was like walking down the street and he like didn't pay any attention to me. And I stopped at the end and watched and he just did like a whole photo shoot of Karen.
You should have gone up and been like, that's my cat. If any of those photos are good, please send them to me.
And then today, Mikey was out the front and one of the people who lives opposite us who said to me before that we've got the most beautiful cat on the street. He came up to Mikey and was like, where's your cat? Is she okay? I haven't seen her for ages. I'm really worried about her. And Mikey was like, oh no, she's fine. She's just like been chilling inside a bit more. And he's like, oh, okay. I was so worried. Did not ask how Mikey is.
Did not care.
So my cat is a pillar of our community. So, have we got a story number 3?
We do. And speaking of ferrets, guess who story number 3 comes from today? Not a ferret.
Oh, I was going to say Lilith. Well, someone called Ferret, I guess.
No, you know them very well.
Mikey?
No.
Oh, my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad has ferrets as well, in case no one gets the connection there.
Yeah.
When I moved out, he got his own ferrets because I took my ferrets with me. And he was more sad about me taking my ferrets with me than he was about me. He said, it's like I'm losing a child. And I said, you are. I'm literally moving out.
The ferrets are the children he never had.
Well, when I moved, I had Ivy and Floss, and Ivy was albino and Floss was a sable mask. And he's now got Tori and Amy that are albino and sable mask.
Oh, wow. So he's literally just replaced them.
Yeah. Would like to say I'm irreplaceable, clearly.
It's filling the Claudia void with ferrets.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, should we get on to your dad's story?
Yeah.
Another spooky tale from Claudia's dad, albeit one experienced by his mother, Claudia's still alive grandmother or nana, and her late grandmother, Claudia's gran-gran, and gran-gran's late best friend, Auntie Eleanor. I'm assuming you know all those people.
I don't know who Auntie Eleanor is, I ain't gonna lie. But
Fair
then
enough.
Gran died when I was like 6.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
But no, I do call, so I've got Gran who is my great gran, and then Nana is my nan.
Aw, cute.
86 and still going strong.
Oh, fair play. Long before Claudia entered the world, in 1972, my family moved into a crumbling Victorian 6-bedroom house in the Midlands town of Atherstone. Atherstone is probably best known for its tradition of holding an annual Shrove Tuesday ball game. Think Town Punch-Up. This is held in the streets and it's been played almost continuously since the Middle Ages. The Gothic house was so dated it had no running water, and the water supply was via an internal well in the kitchen, which, when I was a 9-year-old boy, I almost fell into as we were viewing the property. However, this spooky tale is not about the somewhat scary crumbling Addams family style house. In the garden was an older, probably Georgian, 3-up, 3-down cottage, which my grandmother was going to move into, following the death of her husband once it was decorated. Move forward almost a year and my grandmother was settled in the cottage with Henry, her sausage dog, and my family were in the spooky house, which had been partly done up. It finally had running water and we'd filled in the well. The actual story of the strange spooky cottage didn't really come out until the family had moved from the Midlands to Kent, and while no one had scary stories about the house, several sensible and rational women all had similar stories when alone in the cottage in the evening or overnight. My mother still remembers the time my grandmother went to visit Canada. She was visiting some cousins in the summer, and she was tasked with airing out the cottage as it was a hot summer. She went over every evening about 8 o'clock to close the windows and check the cottage. As she closed the upstairs windows, she descended the open stairs which came down into the open plan living room. She felt as if someone was following her. Because of this, she increasingly quickened her exit and locked the front door behind her. She never felt very afraid, and it was a benign presence, but it did unsettle her. Over the weeks she looked after the cottage, she only went to check things when it was light outside, and she always had a feeling she was being watched as soon as she went upstairs, and she was being followed until she left the cottage. Another time, my grandmother's best friend Eleanor was Henry sitting one evening while my grandmother was out. Now, as my mother had pointed out, as lovely as Aunt Eleanor was, she did like her fags and a G&T or two in the evening. That said, I remember Eleanor telling me and my grandmother sometime later that she was sitting alone in the living room with Henry on the floor beside her, and around 8 p.m. the dog started freaking out, staring at the stairs, and she felt that unease that my mother had described. Although it passed after a while and the dog went to hide under the chair, so she decided to get herself another drink. My grandmother, again after we'd moved, told me that she had the feeling of being watched and sometimes followed, especially when she was upstairs, and when she was going down the stairs in the few years she lived there, and even sometimes woke in the middle of the night with the same feeling, as if she was not alone. Again, there was nothing evil about this spirit, and there was no other real spooky activities, just a feeling that something or someone else was in the cottage, and that something or someone probably felt everyone else there was intruding on their space. As a 9 to 12-year-old, I rarely went into the cottage, and while at the time I didn't know of the other stories until we'd moved out, I never felt particularly comfortable in the cottage. And once again, the irony was the definitely spooky main house never had any spooky episodes, apart from local kids putting a few fireworks through the letterbox as a prank. That sweet-looking cottage was the centre of an eerie presence, and maybe it still is half a century later.
So my dad's always said to me that I probably would have loved the main house.
Oh, really?
Because it was proper Addams family style.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't think I'd want to stay there. Like, aesthetically, I'd be like, that's cool, but nope.
Yeah, although it does sound from your dad's story that actually the main house,
Oh, yeah.
although looked creepy, wasn't haunted at all.
No. But then
It
I
was-
suppose the little
yeah.
cottage in the garden is going to be, like, used for... It's what they call a granny flat, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which is what it
like
was
an
actually
annex,
used for.
yeah.
And therefore, it's possible that people are more likely to die there.
Maybe. It does sound like both the properties are just very, very old.
Completely, yeah.
And it just sounds like they didn't talk about it when they lived there. And I wonder if
Which
that's
is very my family.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, I wonder if that's very much if we talk about it, it's real.
Yeah. I will say my nan's house now is very creepy, and my dad is adamant it's not haunted. My nan's adamant it's not haunted. But I would say differently. It's a very
really?
old house. So again, it's a large house. It's like 7 bedrooms.
Wow.
It's completely detached. It sits in 20 acres of land. It has got a near neighbour, so next door is a neighbour. But you don't see them unless you go round to one of the fields and then you see their house. And it has got a neighbour opposite and like a few other houses, but it is creepy.
Yeah.
It's old in terms of you've got one of those big old fireplaces that's almost like you can't stand up in it, but it's like a small room in itself.
Yeah.
And it's got the old bells for servants still, but they're disconnected because my dad had lots of fun when he was a kid pressing them.
I bet.
It's got a really creepy basement. It's just very old. Very old.
I guess if she's lived in a haunted house before, or like not necessarily lived there but had that haunted experience, and she's not had anything similar in this new house, she doesn't have any reason to believe.
But then I have. So, okay, I'll tell you a spooky story.
Go on.
So, my nan's house in general, like I just said, is a bit creepy. It's old enough that the Queen Mother stayed there once.
Wow.
I know at least one death has happened there, which was Gran. But I was once staying there at Christmas and I fell asleep in the living room, which you go into the house and you've got the staircase, you've got the hallway, and then it splits off into like sort of 2 L shapes. If you go left, you go into the kitchen, like you go a long corridor and down into a kitchen. If you go right, you go a long corridor and down, and it's clearly an extension of some sort because you've got like cobblestone flooring.
Oh, okay.
That drops down with a step.
Yeah.
And there's also a wind chime there that normally, if you walk past, even if you don't knock it, the wind sort of makes it go off a bit.
Okay, so it's quite a sensitive wind chime.
Yeah. I was once like half asleep in the armchair in front of the TV, and it was like 3 a.m, and I heard something walk down those couple steps, but the wind chime didn't go off.
Okay.
And then rattling at the door, and the door handle, it's like a gold doorknob, was rattling, and I was petrified, and I was like, what the fuck? And then no one came in, and so I got up after a while.
Yeah.
Not after a while, but like a few minutes.
Yeah.
Opened the door and like went to check, and no one was there. And whenever I've told the story, my dad and my nan have been like, oh, it's probably your granddad, because this is when he was alive. It was probably your granddad like walking down the hall. But my granddad was quite physically disabled. Not to you and I as healthcare workers, but like he walked with a stick and he was overweight. So he made a noise as he walked.
You would have heard the stick, like,
and he didn't. And he wouldn't have made a quick getaway.
Yeah.
Like, not being rude, but he wasn't speedy.
Yeah. He would have still been on the other side you would have still been able to see him when you got up.
Exactly. So that was weird. And I'm not saying it's anything horrible, but it's just definitely got a weird vibe, that house.
Yeah.
My friend Ella stayed there once, and she's already said to me, you're going to tell the stories about your nan's house? And I honestly think that's the only story I've got. It's just a very old, creepy house.
Really?
With it's old enough that it's still got little stairs in the kitchen that go up to a bedroom, which is slightly lower than the other first floor.
Yeah.
Because that's the maid's old quarters.
Oh, okay.
So it's a very old house. It's got all these old original features.
I bet it's beautiful though.
I'll tell you about that later.
Oh,
it's
okay.
not. It's not very well maintained.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and it's very much just a creepy house.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a live podcast from there one day.
It is also in Kent.
That's all right. Little trip to visit your family.
Yeah, I'm not staying overnight there. You can.
Okay. Maybe we'll do a Ouija board.
Yeah.
No thanks.
So have we got another story today?
We
after
do.
That tangent?
We have the 4th and final story.
Beautiful.
And Again, I think this was a Reddit. Oh, wait, no, this was a Reddit user. They have not emailed it in. So their handle is Busk340, and that's Busk.
Like busking.
Like busking. So thank you for your story. I was friends with this kid in my neighborhood. I can't remember his name, so for the purposes of the story, I'm just going to call him the kid. Anyway, he told me that there was a spirit of an old man haunting his townhouse. The old man had passive old age, so nothing sinister, and apparently he was a friendly ghost. The kid told me that he had named the spirit Jackal, and of course, I didn't believe in ghosts at the time, so I thought he was absolutely crazy. To prove to me that he wasn't lying, he invited me over to his house. He and I went into his bedroom, and we were the only people upstairs in his house at the time. He called out to the ghost, Jackal, and as he said his name, a breeze of cold air rushed into the room. He had no aircon in his house, and there weren't any windows open. It was also a hot summer's day, so the fact that it went that cold that quickly is even stranger. The breeze was like a cold winter's day, and the entire bedroom felt cold after. Then the kid's bedroom door slowly started to close on its own right in front of my eyes. I could see into the hallway, so I could see that there was no one there closing it. Then we heard knocking on all four walls of his bedroom simultaneously, so it couldn't have been one person playing a trick on us. Even stranger is that his bedroom was on the edge of the house, so 3 of the walls went straight outside and didn't have a room behind them. I freaked out and ran downstairs where his dad was sitting in the front room. His dad told me that the ghost is real, and apparently every night Jackal likes to shake the doorknobs and sometimes open doors while everyone is sleeping. I refused to ever go back to his house, and some of the other friends of the kid told him about their own experiences, so I know I hadn't imagined it. Another story the kid told me was one day his older brother was pushing him around, and the spirit pushed his brother back across the room. I don't know if he thought he was playing with the kids, or if he was standing up for my friend, but his brother confirmed that this story was also true. To this day, I would never step foot in that house again.
Fair play. I mean, I'm always a bit intrigued by how ghosts make noises happen simultaneously like that.
Yeah, it's mad, because you wouldn't, if it was a single person wouldn't be able to make 4 noises, so how does the ghost do it?
Yeah, like, do you get to choose a power? So I think we've spoken about, like, do you get to choose your avatar?
Yeah.
Like, almost, like do you get to decide, like, how you're going to manifest?
Yeah.
Do you get to decide your powers? Like, okay, you can tap things.
But then this guy sounds like he can do a lot. Like, I'm assuming the breeze is just his presence entering, because that's quite common with ghosts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the temperature drop. But then he also, I guess, tapping on the wall, moving a door and pushing his brother.
Yeah. Maybe you like, level up. You know, like those games you get advertised that are like, you start as a pauper and you end as a king.
Yeah. You start as a ghost who can just, like, tap gently against something, but then you end up being like a full-blown poltergeist who can, like, be seen in photos.
We've cracked it. You don't. Yeah, you start as a little orb.
Yeah.
I don't believe in orbs, but you start as a little orb, and then you end up being a poltergeist.
Yeah.
See, we've got it. Like, people think poltergeists are malevolent spirits. Nah, they're just powerful. And what happens to powerful people? It corrupts.
Yes. They think they're in charge of everything.
You heard it here first. We have cracked it.
We know all.
100% facts. Pure facts. Yeah, I don't think I would go back either to that house.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like an evil spirit, though. Like,
not unless he definitely favours one of the kids. Or maybe just, justice.
Yeah, he's like, he's too small to push you, I'll push you back.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
That sounds quite nice. It does make me laugh that he called him Jackal, because that's what I call my mum's cat.
Oh, really?
So when it was like Jackal, like, shake... My mum's cat is called Jack, but I always call him Jackal or like Jackalini.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And so it was like Jackal shakes the doorknobs. I was like,
The cat shakes the door. Yeah, I thought it was a bit like, what a random name to name a ghost.
It's a bit creepy because it's also a bit like Jekyll.
Yeah.
Also, you've got the Jackal in 13 Ghosts, which is the scariest ghost.
Yeah. I haven't seen that film in so long.
I thought you were going to say you haven't seen that film. I was like, oh.
No, I think I watched it when I was like 15. I don't think I've watched it since.
It is a good film, but actually it probably scared you when you're 15. It'll make you laugh now.
Yeah.
Because it's not aged well in terms of like, not problematically, just like the effects.
Yeah. I think it would still be a good...
It's still good.
I'm right in thinking the one where they've got 13 ghosts in things in the basement, haven't they? And then they stay in this house and they don't know that they're there and they accidentally let them all out.
Yeah, it's like a glass house.
Yeah. But
it is a good film. It stands the test of time in terms of like entertainment.
Yeah, I might have to rewatch it because obviously I'm feeling like at 15 years old I probably didn't pay attention to it.
I think a remake of it would be quite good, which I know everyone's like, no, don't touch things. But like sometimes a remake can be good. Like actually the new Scream is really good.
Especially horror films, because the level of graphics has gone up so much. Even in the past like 10 years, you could make them so much better and so much scarier just by having better effects.
As long as you don't make it a Hollywood thing. Like I think Psycho is a great film. I think it could be remade and be made better. Like not better, but like it could be remade.
Yeah.
And I know loads of people are like, oh, blasphemy. But don't make it into a Hollywood thing.
Yeah. I reckon like literally make it like for like.
Yeah.
Like,
or maybe just remaster it actually.
Yeah, just update it. Yeah. Doesn't need to be completely changed.
Exactly.
Like, because I quite like the old Evil Dead and the new Evil Dead, but I'm pretty sure
I've never seen either.
I have a feeling that maybe not directed by the same person, but like produced and directed kind of thing. Like the same person put their ideas into it.
I mean, I might be in the minority of saying reproduce things because I don't really like old horrors.
They're just
I'm not
scary.
Like a classic horror fan.
Yeah.
I'm very much, I like newer horrors like Host and Wreck. And I actually prefer the newer It to the old It.
Oh, okay.
The first It, I
both,
couldn't get through the whole thing. I thought it was really boring.
Yeah.
But the new It, I liked.
That's the hard thing, I think, especially with the horror genre, is that the graphics just aren't good, so it's just not scary because the graphics aren't good.
And I definitely didn't become a horror fan until my late teens, probably early 20s, because I was a bit of a scaredy cat.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's quite normal. It's not something you get into when you're 10.
But also, I was always interested in ghosts and murders and stuff. Yeah. But horror films were really... They terrified me, whereas now I can watch something in the dark and be fine.
I actually went to the cinema the other day to watch The Black Phone.
Was it good? Because I've heard mixed reviews.
So I really enjoyed it. And because I watched, so my friend was like, oh no, I didn't really like it, but I really like, what's his name? Ethan, what's his face? From Sinister. Ethan, yeah? He's a really good actor. But then I also said to my friend, I was like, it's kind of weird because it's almost like a feel-good horror film.
Oh.
In the sense that like...
A bit like Happy Death Day?
No. In the sense that, I mean, it's kind of spoilers, but it's also kind of in the trailer. The fact that the previous victims help the current victim escape.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it is a good film.
Yeah, I do want to watch it, but I think as most horror fans have to, you go into things always being like, oh, please be good.
Yeah, you have to go in open-minded, don't you?
Yeah, and I am not gonna lie, like I love a good shit horror as well.
Oh god, yeah.
Like I love all the tropes sometimes, and we all know the Annabelle franchise isn't the best in the world, but it's good to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's got everything that you want in a horror. It's got jump scares. I mean, they're predictable.
Yeah, it's Annabelle's very Hollywood, and I think if they did that to anything like Psycho or The Shining, it would be awful. But for what it is, it's good.
Yeah, they've definitely got worse as well.
So, I guess on that note, all that's left to say is thank you for listening. And, actually, I do have one more thing to say. Ooh. So we absolutely know that we are not going to win this award. However, there is a British Podcast Award, and you can, at the moment, you can vote for people. I think it closes on the 17th. being able to vote, we'll put the link in the description. All you have to do is go on, type True Crime Coven, and we should come up, click on us, then confirm the link in your email, and it's a vote. Now, we're not expecting to win by any means. We're not expecting anything like that.
No.
It's just really good promotion for us, basically.
It might just get someone else interested in our podcast. So yeah,
it's just really good promotion for us. Really good exposure. So it would mean the world to us if you could do it. Like I said, we absolutely know that we're not going to win. We are not delusional.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that.
So I'll put the link in the description, and if you could go ahead and do that, it'd be amazing. And you can actually vote for as many different podcasts as you like. So if I was you, I would personally vote for independent creator podcasts like ourselves, because they're the ones who really need elevating. They're the ones who do this for little or no money. And on that note, thank you for listening, and stay spooky. Hey guys, if you have a ghost story or case suggestion, please email us, truecrimecovenpod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Twitter at True Crime Coven, or on Instagram and Facebook, where we are at True Crime Coven Pod.
Also, it would mean the absolute world to us if you could rate us wherever you're listening to this right now, be it Spotify, Apple Music, or if you're on YouTube, give us a little thumbs up, click that bell, get notifications every time we post.
Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts from.
Make these two witches smile.
Thanks, witches!